Hello all, I'm Ranjani Swaminathan, one of the city directors for Women Who Code Bangalore chapter. What a great way to start our Connect India 2022 conference this year with VPs sharing their experiences in this VUCA world. Looking back at our 3 years journey after the pandemic, the major changes that happened are the way in which we collaborate, deliver, and innovate. Whatever could have been achieved in 10 minutes over a coffee chat when people work from offices have become a Zoom meeting that has been rescheduled thrice and have not concluded yet. On the other side, there is growth in technology that tries to address these challenges by developing collaborative tools and ways of working in the new culture. So let us hear from our experienced panelists and moderators on the topic fueling innovations in hybrid workspace. Our panelists for today are Sairam Veeraswamy. He is the Senior Director, Advanced Technology Group in VMware India. Sairam is an experienced technology leader with over 35 years of experience in technology management and product engineering in storage and networking. In his current role with the corporate CTO office, he manages innovation theaters, advanced technology development, academic research, collaboration, and ecosystem initiatives. He has led various system architecture initiatives in his previous roles with EMC, Veritas, and a startup. Sairam is a passionate innovator and has over 45 patents issued by the USPTO. He was recognized as the technical role model by Zinnov in 2013. Welcome, Sairam.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here too.
Thank you. So our next panelist is Laxmi Mukund. Laxmi Mukund is a principal engineer at Cisco with a master's in computer science and networking with 20 years of industry experience. She has worked on various routing, switching, and security products across enterprise, service providers, and data centers. Her main contributions have been in the architecture, design, and development of features in areas of core routing, switching, and other networking functions. She is currently working on security with privacy as an important component and understanding key customer requirements and translating them into usable features. She has a Cisco Pioneer Award and patents in the area of networking. Welcome, Laxmi.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ranjani. It's very glad to be here.
Sure. Our next panelist is Sushma. Sushma AB is a passionate professional with over 12 years of experience in the IT industry. She has a lot of passion in the 4 pillars of people, product, processes, and partnership. She firmly believes in winning together by building teams that work together inside and across functional teams in an organization. She has a lot of positive energy from partnering and influencing teams to ensure all are aligned on technical business decisions. Her area of expertise includes servers, storage, HCI networking, systems management, virtualization, and cloud. She's a true engineer at heart working on innovations. She has filed more than 80 disclosures at Dell, 23 submitted at USPTO, with 21 granted patents. She was invited to the Michael Dell annual patent dinner at Dell HQ in Austin. And she has also won Best Dell Product Group Innovation 2 years in a row. Welcome, Sushma.
Thank you so much, Ranjani.
Our next panelist is Kumar Gaurav, KG as we call him fondly. He is working as India site lead for Thoughtspot with heavy responsibility in company's product engineering. Some of his focus areas are search-driven self-aware analytics and automatic actionable insights, helping Thoughtspot in its journey from selling hardware boxes to now counting SaaS ARRs. Prior to Thoughtspot, KG held management positions at Cohesity, a data management pioneer, and much earlier at virtualization behemoth VMware. He is passionate about curating innovative ideas, harvesting intellectual properties in companies as a means to raising job engagement among engineers. He himself has a portfolio of 45 plus US patents and 5 plus academic publications of repute. Welcome, KG.
Thank you, Rajni. Glad to be here.
And with that, we have our eminent moderator, which is Sriram Balasubramanian. He is working as the Senior Director of R&D in VMware. He has completed his master's degree from College of Engineering, Guindy, and has been in the software industry for 25 plus years now. He has been working with VMware for 12 plus years and is passionate about technology and have been driving various SaaS initiatives within VMware. So welcome, Sriram, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Ranjani. Excited to be here. Yeah. I think previously the discussion was about leading the world of uncertainty with Ram, Charu, and Guru. And now we are doing a segue into fueling innovation for hybrid workforce. Let me start with what has happened with COVID-19. Like we all see the digital transformation has been there for many years, and with COVID-19 we have seen an unprecedented acceleration of digital transformation, and these have created a lot of opportunities, and the opportunities included business process. Companies utilized various productivity apps, moved to SaaS software, and transformed their business process. Like hospitals moved from in-person checkups to telehealth, schools transforming themselves from in-class to virtual. And along with that, new business model evolved. If you see in the business model, just to quote an example of media and entertainment, where they pivoted from theaters to OTT platforms, and mom and pop shop to more of using WhatsApp for deliveries to reach to their customers. And also we have seen companies transform themselves around the domain expansion. The way Ola kind of companies, where they moved from ride sharing company with their existing platform to more towards the manufacturing of EVs and stuff. If you see, all these changes have been propelled by innovation that happen with the help of their workforce in their respective organization. Just to bring the context, let's start with Work 1.0. This is a pre-pandemic where being present in office is being the prerequisite to show productivity. Remote workforce is seen as being less productive. Collaboration and teamwork needs to be physical. That's a myth that we had. And innovations happen through discussions in the break rooms, coffee chats, and being together in cars and stuff. These things got transformed during pandemic. Like we all moved towards fully virtual. Mushrooms of productivity apps comes around enabling remote working. Like Ranjani said, for the innovation discussion of coffee chat became like Zoom meetings. And to demonstrate that what effectively came out of pandemic also is not the productivity. Productivity is a measure of output, not of a physical presence, which is a very big win. And it also become outcome focused. Certainly employees burnout happened. Now we are moving towards the post-pandemic, where we are going to talk about Work 2.0, which is a hybrid workforce. With no due, the way I have segmented this discussion into two segments, maybe starting with workplace transformation, followed by fueling the innovation at Work 2.0. I'll start with workplace transformation. Maybe I'll start with Laxmi. Like you have seen the journey with pandemic and post pandemic, and maybe it would be great if you can share your journey that you have seen in your workplace.
Sure. Thank you, Sairam. So for me, I think it was, initially I thought it was very smooth. All our laptops are enabled with virtual working. So, instead of working one day in 3 weeks, we just had to work every day. So it was great. And then there was no commute, knowing Bangalore traffic, so efficiency was at its peak. Right, everything was working great. And then slowly we started seeing the new hires come in, the interns come in. And though it was great because I could work with somebody, in different universities across India, across the world, but I knew that they were missing something. It's not the same, right? It's not the same working remotely from somewhere. Being an intern is all about coming in, talking to people, exchanging ideas. That slowly that was when I started seeing some of the drawbacks. And then the labs, there was no access to labs. So that was like a big drawback, because a lot of time is spent there, and a lot of it's just nice to be in the labs and get your hands dirty. And the chalk talks and the whiteboarding, all of that kind of, you started to miss that. What I realized during this whole time was though the journey was absolutely smooth, there was no problem at all. And every feature that was there in the roadmap was getting like executed, spot on, with being very efficient. But what I started to realize is that if this continues, perhaps the next roadmap will be quite bleak. There are no new ideas. What will be on the roadmap at all? It's great for now, but what will happen later? So that was my, the journey that I went through.
Thanks, Laxmi. KG, do you want to see how, as a startup, this workplace transformation transformed, and what are all the positive side you see with this transformation?
Yeah, sure, Sriram. So my very quick take is that it depends upon the profile of the company. So your question is very apt. With respect to large companies versus startups, do we see a difference with respect to our definition of hybrid workplace and associated productivity? And on one side, there are metrics. Let me first of all come to it. I'm a very metric-driven person. So you can imagine I will have dashboards about developer productivity. I will have some metrics being cooked up from the number of bugs, or even get it commit, the types of commit, the SDLC process, everything we do measure. So I haven't seen any significant dip to put my hand and say that, hey, when people are working remotely, is it less productive? But I agree to what Laxmi has said, that if you are in a steady state, you will continue to be in the steady state because momentum is with you. For building anything new which is ground up, it requires whiteboarding. As humans, we take energy from each other. As humans, we take ideas from each other and build on top of it. That's the most difficult part to do on a Zoom type session or the whiteboards that we see available online. So, but we are anyway not going to go back into the old days of 5 days a week commute through the traffic, whether on your car or on boat, come to office. We are not going to do that. But rather our focus will be come for a few days to work, do the collaborative things there, and do it only for collaboration. Don't think about sitting in a corner office and just doing your work silently. That won't help. Other days, please be productive, work from home. We trust you. And all metrics are there in place to tell us that you are productive from home. But for collaboration, we need in person. That's what my personal belief is.
Thanks, KG. Sairam, you are managing a big part of VMware Octo Group, which innovation is important fuel as part of the advanced technical group, and we have to work across the globe. How do you see this change observed by the team as well as the company?
I think, as talking about the transformation process, I think I sort of characterize this holistically applied system thinking. So instead of looking at innovation per se in isolation, I just want to see how we effectively sort of reflected on our epic values, which we like, sort of breathe day in and day out. So pre-pandemic, it was sort of full of fun and flourished with activities and creative ideas sort of flowing in, wherein we are up to 1,000 submissions for one of our flagship technology summit, annual technology peer-reviewed technology internal summit. Phenomenal run. But pandemic sort of, taught us great lessons, and also it was a good acid test for us. So we sort of beautifully reflected with leadership support and our colleagues on the ground supporting us on every aspect of making sure that, that we reflect on our epic values. It wasn't easy. It was a roller coaster at times. As Laxmi and KG pointed out, I think productivity sort of boomed, unimaginable level, and we were like on done with the release with a great quality. But we also, I would like to proudly claim that that we also collaborated effectually to deliver our to demonstrate our innovation quotient on non-technical areas and giving back to the society with our work done by the community team. You might have heard about the innovative effort driven again by women leaders. In terms of serving COVID patients. When it comes to helping them get to the right hospital, that can accommodate them. Phenomenal and proudful moment for us. But we demonstrated the epic to value above and beyond productivity and innovation. Yeah, the collaboration played a key role, and the women leaders sort of took the lead and made sure that that all the cities were were addressed and the expectations were met. Phenomenal. And post-pandemic, so we are sort of beginning to reflect on our learnings during pandemic and pre-pandemic and getting ready for this hybrid workplace, and fueling innovation is indeed a challenge. The first and foremost is a proximity bias. We are sort of hearing about this, and we are trying to address that. But other than that, yeah, I do agree with Kumar, KG and Laxmi that certain things influences slows down the collaborative effort, and so obviously the myth that being a close proximity, being in the room is what really helped them drive brainstorming sessions to come up with the interesting and innovative, creative, path-breaking ideas. So I believe what 2.0 is all about, evolving a platform with which we really break all this myth and enable the workforce really more effective than ever in terms of delivering on creative innovation.
Thank you, Sairam. Sushma, do you want to share your organizational change with respect to, and what is the positive side that you have seen with this transformation?
Let me unmute. Thank you for your question, Sriram. So as we have seen in Dell, right? So the COVID opened limitless opportunities, I would say, on the positive side, right? Given choice and also the flexibility, right? We proved that we can excel. We're not worried from where the work gets done, no matter from where it gets done, but we have proved and we've shown the progress that yes, we have the ability to perform and excel in whatever we were doing earlier prior to the pandemic, right? So that's the transformation journey we have seen at Dell. And yeah, so we came up with innovative, so me being part of systems management group, right? So we have to bring up a lot of servers, the setups and everything. So we brought in innovative way of building the lab setups, building the golden configs. We also brought up features like lab as service and group rotation and all of these, right? So all in all, right, put together all of these, innovation need not be patent or an idea, right? So innovative way of doing the mundane things that we were doing pre-pandemic, right? So all of that, we kind of human transformation is something which is amazing, right? So we time and again we have proved at Dell and we have performed really well. So I would say that it's been a fruitful journey on a positive side, I'd say. Yeah. Thank you, Sriram. Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, no, the automation has transformed, and I'm very happy to hear that.
Definitely, and of course, tools like Zoom and Teams have helped us enormously to synchronize and to meet each other, and group chats and group calls, file saving features, and all of these extraordinary features have helped us kind of cope with the situation and perform really well. Yeah. Thank you, Sriram.
Thank you. Yeah. So I just maybe the way I see, correct? There is a very good call out done by both Laxmi and KG. Yeah. Steady state. Everything is positive. There is a very good smooth sailing that happened with any new ideas and creative ideas, new things that we need to deliver, where the challenges creep in. Do you want to touch upon how I understand a collaboration is critical. What do you see as a barrier when you want to explore into new areas or new ideas with that? Maybe I'll start with KG.
Yeah, I can briefly mention that and continue from what I left last time. See, steady state is a luxury that startups don't have. Every week things change, ground up, business assumptions change. Any new capability that a competitor has, our customers will force us to death to have it. Roadmaps change. And I can very easily contrast with the bigger companies I work, especially VMware, where we knew years ahead in time what we have to build. And that is the steady state I was referring to. Now, in such type of change, the change has to be institutionalized also culturally. Mindset change, right? Else there will be a lot of disconnect. People will say nod yes in a Zoom call, but they're not connected. They don't understand why this change has to be happen in the first place. And I was more hinting towards those conversations, not just a technical one. That alignment with people, getting every member of your rowing team rowing in the same direction with the same intensity and velocity is paramount to a startup like ours. And I haven't seen any good substitute rather than having a good meeting, whether in a restaurant or in an office, to use as a substitute. But yeah, I'm a bit old-fashioned that way, but I see it working in my area.
Yeah. Actually, I would like to add, yes, I mean, nothing better than like a cup of tea and, discussing everything. But one thing I really like about this whole, not the pandemic really, but the whole virtual setup is that it sets a level playing field. Earlier, some of us used to be in one room and with a whiteboard, and somebody joined remotely. And half the time you're saying, you're not completely involved in the discussion. You're saying, can you move the mic? Can you move the whiteboard so that I can see properly? So those things are gone, right? Because everyone is virtual. Everyone is using the digital whiteboard. And so it's great because now all of us have equal access to everything that is there. So I think that makes it very, very good for completely inclusive kind of discussions. So I think that I see as a huge advantage. And also, a lot of times you write on the whiteboard, you say, yes, we will follow up, and then it's gone, right? But now every meeting is recorded. Every digital board is like snapshotted. So it's easier kind of to follow up, I think. But of course, there are a lot of disadvantages, but these two stand out as something good that have come out. But of course, I agree with you, KG. No replacement for a discussion over a chai, no.
No, sometimes we have seen that, correct? Every day we tell the prayers, which is like the same thing we keep repeat. But as a management also, the same communication has to be reinforced multiple times to get it into people's mind. That's a good insight, Kevin, Laxmi. And maybe like you did a segue into that, correct? Where you brought in about mindset change and the corresponding the DNA that we need to have for working in the workplace. Like, Sairam, do you want to touch upon like how do you see this, like as a team member or a manager or as an organizational lead? What do you see as a mind shift change that we need to bring in to continue in this work 2.0?
Great question, Sriram. I sort of look at it in three different vectors. One is the idea itself. That there's a new way of harvesting the idea. The conventional wisdom. I mean, whatever worked till now may not work for work 2.0. Because in new workplace avatar, everything is about consumability. So just like getting a deep down system idea may not really stand alone, may not help succeed the innovator to really kick the idea forward and be successful with it. Now we need to really think holistically, right from consumability to serviceability. So the idea itself, the scope of the idea itself, it really requires innovation. Second thing, the innovator persona, the second vector. Right, as innovator, what kind of transformation that we need to apply, to really to succeed in this new of that. Third is the innovation ecosystem itself, the process of innovating. So let me double click on the innovator, and if required, I'll touch on the idea and the innovation. So I think there are many aspects of many attributes of this innovator that requires innovation. First of all, as Laxmi said and KG echoed, being disciplined is super important. Because without that, we can't really draw a line or focus on health, family, and professional work commitment and demand. Because unless the innovator really learn to master this art of being disciplined, it's going to be very, very difficult to succeed in what 2.0. Yeah, we may be temporarily successful, but if you want to sustain success, one has to be really, really disciplined. Like giving the right priority to health, because that is super important. There's a foundational, and obviously family and professional work commitment and demands. Fulfilling that is also equally important to really be successful in a holistically. The second aspect of DNA mutation, second aspect that warrants DNA mutation is the focus on thinking style. So thinking style is the one that we sort of took it for granted in 1.0 because we have a nice way of complementing it by sensing the body language, delivery, and all of that. But with this remote working, all of them are really missing. So we need to make sure that we really harness our thinking style and do it consciously. I mean, it can't be accidental or temporal. Do it consciously. See, for example, the previous session talked about VUCA. I think system thinking is one of the effective tools with which you can manage a reasonable level of challenges in VUCA world. So just focus on system thinking style and be a lateral thinker. So obviously, whatever solution that really worked in the past may not work going forward. So you need to be really thinking differently. I mean, do things differently, and more importantly, be a design thinker. So you need to be really an empathetical thinker to make sure that that you can meet out the expectations of the delivery mechanism and also the idea itself, the way you harvest and what you harvest. So focusing on thinking style is super important behavior that we need to focus on. The third one is just do it attitude. Because in remote working, I think people are impatient. They just out of sight, out of mind plays a big role in driving the people crazy and being impatient. So doing it in a just do it attitude is what really will play. I mean, any amount of slideware is not going to help you win, right? It may excite people, but to build a really rapid trust, you just need to follow just do it attitude, and by demoing the POVs of your idea instead of just taking the audience to 100 slide deck. And be professionally modern. And because what is really important is that that with out of sight, out of mind play, I think a lot of things a lot of different things that happens unconsciously. So to play against the unconscious bias, you need to really consciously create and manage your brand image, right? And that leads to another important vector of break the introvertness. We by DNA are introvert. We don't really celebrate our work. So by building the brand image and creating a platform to drive your brand image, you can also use that to celebrate your work, right? That's super important for all of us as a professional and succeed. Doesn't matter whether it's an individual contributor or a manager. So we all need to break the introvertness to reasonable extent and use this brand building platform, whatever it is. It could be LinkedIn, it could be Instagram, or it could be whatever. It could be YouTube channels. But make sure that you're professionally modern and use that modernization tool to really break the introvertness. And collaboration is the key to success here. So because with the agility that's needed to really challenge, beat the VUCA challenges, you need to really you can't really solve all the problem yourself. Strongly believe in that. I don't think anybody is going to be judgmental in the new world. What really speaks is the results, right? To really deliver the results in the modern world, I think to be successful, collaboration is the key. Finding new ways of getting the collaboration well orchestrated. Finally, the proximity bias, right? The proximity bias goes two ways, and it could really kill creativity in different ways, right? Proximity bias for managers plays differently as against innovators, right? We engineers, we tend to believe that we can do everything ourselves. That goes against the collaboration rule. And the reason why we think is because that we don't see people, we don't really collaborate, we don't see in person, which we are quite used to. So we tend to really believe that we can do everything ourselves. So there are other side effects of proximity bias that be the proximity bias to really be an effective innovator. I think these are the 5 or 6 really important mutational aspects that I would really focus on in harnessing the new age culture for succeeding in the work for succeeding in work 2.0 in an ecosystem.
Thank you, Sairam. No, thanks. It kind of you narrow down into some 6 things that we need to take care, and it is a well. Maybe going to Sushma, you have been innovator for Dell. How do you see an innovator as a persona and their mindset? What Sairam is talking about, actually. You want to add something on that?
Yeah, so being an innovator myself, right? So the key thing or a key factor that I would see that would differentiate an innovator from others would be to identify the opportunity in the sense to get to know the problem statement, right? So you're facing the challenge, right? So the innovative mindset is always looking for the problem statement, and then that's the first step towards being innovative, right? And then you collaborate and strategize with the right set of people, the technologists and the architects and the business teams and across the organizations, marketing and everything, and then you put together everybody's ideas and then drive towards bringing a solution to the problem statement that you have identified, right? So I would say, I think that has played a key role in me being an innovator, right? So I think Sriram, this is what I feel, which an innovator stands out from the others. Sriram, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And
Do
also
you
having a positive mindset all the time, being self motivated, especially in the times of pandemic where we lost the connectivity to our friends and people, right, at offices. And as Lakshmi said so, and Lakshmi and KG mentioned, a chit chat over the coffee, or in the car we would discuss ideas and brainstorm anywhere and everywhere, like walking across the corridors and all of that. We missed all of that out, right? Now we got to be self motivated. If we are self motivated, then we have a chance to kind of motivate others as well, right? So that also plays a key role, being an innovator in the times of pandemic, especially, Sriram. Thank you for the question. Yeah.
Thank you. Lakshmi, do you want to add something around the mindset? Like, how do you see yourself being an innovator, working in a larger organization? How do you see
Right.
important?
I think, like Sushma said, right, and the video you had shared, right, earlier to all of us about discovery, invention, and innovation. I think now innovation is all about problem solving. Like Sushma said, we need to have problems. And before the pandemic, we used to have a lot of discussions with our customer events, and then our test engineers, and all the different people who are actually using the products. And then network administrators who are actually doing something out there, and then talking to them and then getting problems from them so that we can come up with different kind of solutions or innovative solutions for them. So I think that kind of got missed out during this time. So I think that of course plays a very, very important role. Also, another thing that has helped during the pandemic is the connectivity itself is a great problem to solve, right? So we had one of our customers who came in and said that, we are designed for a completely on-prem network, right? But how do we let people come in from outside? So then we had to kind of figure out how do we, configure the VPNs, the switches and the routers and the network as administrator, NAC controllers and everything, so that the people who are sitting outside now will have exactly the same access to resources as they were on-prem. So the WFX solutions were all very innovative solutions that were put together, solving the problem which was there at that time. The other nice thing that happened was that. So Cisco has WebEx, and the WebEx team put together like a patentation. So you can come and give ideas of how to make WebEx better. So they got so many interesting ideas because people are using them. It's some things that they see is going wrong, and they come up with solutions for that. So I think the mindset should be about just looking around you, finding problems, and see how you can solve them better. I think that is what has helped me.
No, thanks. Actually, like Sushma said, that identifying the opportunities, the problems,
Right.
good. That's good. Yeah. So, like one thing. So we know that Work 2.0 is going to be the norm. And what do you see as realities of a long-term hybrid, and what are all the opportunities of innovation that is going to fuel because of this long-term? We'll start with KG.
Yeah. So a few things which will not change. I will first of all say that the identifying problem, as Laxmi correctly said, we should not find or innovate around the problem, but find problems, right? Problems should be identified, not invented by us as engineers or as executives within the company. It's only the solutioning space which has enough flux in the system, and we will, as good engineering organizations, find our own feet, what works best for us. So the only thing which as an organization we have to keep in mind is be flexible. Don't be slave to your own rules and tools. They are there for a purpose. To meet today's end may not be meeting tomorrow's need. And today we are mostly working remote. Tomorrow we will be in hybrid space. Day after tomorrow maybe something else. So keep an open mind and we will see. And as far as innovation is concerned from individuals, that doesn't change in my opinion. Innovation is still a collaborative exercise. Unlike many of us thinking it's an individual game, it's not. It's a collaborative exercise. Whether you are building a new solution for your company or you are writing patents or academic publication, you need to collaborate with people. You need to take away ideas from others and build on top of it. You need to give your ideas for others to build on top of them. At times you have to be the big person in the room to allow people to take your ideas. So that is the next big thing that people have to internalize, which is borderless execution. You are just one entity, and don't be too much centered around your territory or others' territory. Have a collaboration go on. And we did talk about this part, which is how do you find your own self-motivation, and there is no magic pill there. You have to think about your 30 years or plus minus working career and optimize for that. And no one will tell you how to self-motivate yourself. That's something which comes from intrinsic and the desire to do good every day. But one thing which all of us can learn is how do we find time for thinking creatively, for harvesting innovation. And I have seen people who are that efficient that they will squeeze that 30-minute between meetings to write something, whether it's a piece of code or a piece of paper, but they will write something. They'll stop it then and there, go to the meeting, come back, start from that same word without having a loss of even a minute. So that's a mindset people have to train themselves. I myself practice that, and quite many of the patents that I have as an artifact is about stealing time from here and there. Not from office, not from my family, but the time that I would have wasted anyways. So those tools and techniques don't change. Either you are in the hybrid workspace or you are in an office type pre-pandemic workspace. It still remains the same.
That's good. Thank you, KG. Sairam, do you want to add, say, from the management aspect, since managing a large organization, like what kind of like realities that as a manager or as an executive you need to okay?
Yes, I think, as I said before, proximity bias plays a big role. Okay, before that, I do agree with KG on the fundamental quality attributes of an innovator. Those things never change. Doesn't matter whether we innovate in whether we apply them to innovate in 1.0 or 1.5 or 2.0. And I also agree with KG on the fact that looking around the opportunities, I mean, looking for challenges and turning them into opportunities is one of the core attributes of any innovator. I think Sushma also attributed that. And we have seen that happening here at VMware with 1.5. We really got a great opportunity to really prove on some of the pre-pandemic innovation and help our organization transform and address some of the pandemic challenges of enabling employees to work from home, and also help our customer transform and manage the pandemic-related workspace challenges. A phenomenal test bed for testing out their innovation. And that was a great opportunity, and VMware sort of turned that pandemic challenges into nice opportunities, which is sort of helping VMware really succeed with what 2.0 as well. So, but coming back to your question, Sriram, I think proximity challenge is the biggest play here. like we see many companies are playing to this now post-pandemic as they are sort of expecting employees to come back to work. But I think flexibility bias goes both ways, right? It works positively and also negatively. And the second thing is that we also need to be making some ecosystem changes to make sure that the work 2.0 is sort of effectively leveraged to not only improve the productivity, also to improve the innovation aspect. So the leader really like to take the company ahead and maintain the leading and cutting edge leadership, right? And the typical ecosystem is basically giving longer runway, right? Because there are implicit overhead, though the teams try to be agile and more more effective than ever. But there are complexities, unseen complexities because of which the team can fail. So the tolerance to really failure is what is really expected to be more with this work 2.0. So we want to make sure that the leadership should make sure that the ecosystem is tolerant of these failures and give more opportunity to the innovators to really play, to level play this. Third thing is that that there is the complexity of VUCA exists in all businesses. The complexity of VUCA basically presents a higher risk than before for businesses. So leadership should really take a balanced view and make sure that have the knobs and controls exercised appropriately to succeed with the balanced view. And lastly, I think it's a kind of a continual learning for everyone. So I think we need to be agile and be ready to transform the business by modernizing the business process wherever we could to succeed in work 2.0 ecosystem. Because expecting the work 1.0 ecosystem and business process really work in work 2.0 is unreasonable. So the important aspect for the leadership here is really is to really drive business transformation at all levels. As you know, DT itself is going through transformation. Now we are in 2.5 world, digital transformation 2.5, and I think this is going to change, and we soon be soon be forced to embrace 3.0 to be more successful with work 2.0. So the key message is transformation and playing with setting the level field with the ecosystem for innovators to be more effective, tolerant of failures, and giving longer runway for people to succeed are some of the key things that leadership shall focus on to succeed together as a team with work 2.0.
Thanks, Sriram. Maybe I'll come to Laxmi. One of the good point, KG mentioned, correct? It's identifying the problems rather than invent the problem. And with this being remote, and how do you see identifying the customer problems and getting from field the problems that customers are getting? How do you see what we need to do from our side as innovators to identify these problems?
Sure. Yeah, I think I was reading a McKinsey report, and then they said proximity to our colleagues is good for innovation, but what is needed really is proximity to our problem sources, which are our customers, which are that's very, very important. I think a lot of these big companies already have many of these events, right, which didn't happen during the pandemic. So restarting all of those, where we can have the customers and the network administrators and everybody on the same place, so that we can talk about different things, that would definitely help a lot. But one point I wanted to make was this whole sort of problem, or not a problem, this whole innovation, right, is nothing new. I think even before pandemic, all the companies were having a lot of these, different events and everything to encourage people to innovate. Right, and that has always been there, whether it is pre-pandemic or not. So it's always been thought of, is it an art or a science? Can everybody innovate? Right. So those problems continue to be. So I think, like all of them said here, it's like a mindset. It's like if you can get this box, this magic box of problems that people can solve, I think anybody can, and all of us are good engineers, so anybody can pick it up and come up with a very innovative solution. So I think, yes, the easiest way to do this is to be very close or get proximity or get in-person dive into these problems, get it firsthand. I think that's the way to kind of solve it, even before, even now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, like one of the thing, like touching upon the thing, correct? Identify the problem rather than invent. How do we see about outcome based innovation rather than innovating for something like what do you see? Like maybe this, I just want Sushma, what is a good innovation quotient, and how do you see that outcome based innovation coming up? How do you encourage it?
That's what the encouragement obviously will come in different forms, right? So one is the management, right? So they create they create different platforms to showcase people who are innovators and kind of what innovation which are productizable, right? So which is a direct outcome of your idea. So showcasing all of those products which are outcome of the one small idea, and then obviously monetary benefits to the innovators and giving recognition in various platforms, all of this, right? So these are like obviously to innovate, to the jugaad is in our DNA, right? So especially giving encouragement in terms of these things like showcasing and advertising the product that are directly out, which are outcome of a small idea, right? Encouragement in different forms, right? So these are the things I would say are the encouragements or for the outcome based innovation, Sriram. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you want to add anything, Sairam, on how do you see that encouraging the good innovation quotient?
There are multiple ways to really do that, actually. So, first of all, I think enterprises have to create the right set of platform for the innovators to really experiment their ideas with. Obviously, innovation is hard. I do agree with Laxmi that innovation is for everyone. At the same time, they really have to play to it, and everybody has a dominant, behavior, they exhibit professionally. Somebody may want to be really like a great executor. If they are like, a left brainer, they are right brainer, they want to dominate with their creative and innovative skills. So obviously, we need to make sure that we create a platform that really encourages people to try out things. Right? It could be a process innovation for left brainer and idea innovator. I mean, new ideas and new challenges for the right brainers. So having a platform that allows them to experiment with is super critical. So obviously, we need dreamers and doers. Okay, just dreaming alone is not going to be enough for being successful. So doing is critical for being successful. And unless somebody attempted, they won't experience what innovation is all about and the fun that one could get. So creating a platform and an environment and an ecosystem is super important for innovator to really succeed and harness his innovation quotient. Two is basically allow them to practice their innovation, right? Which means that take their innovation idea seriously, help them take it through the ecosystem, organizational ecosystem, get it validated so that they have a sounding board where they can really validate the assumptions, so that they can repivot if we need to really advance their innovation. So that's also an important part of the ecosystem, but I just want to mention it because without that, innovator cannot succeed in many of the dominant companies, which are difficult to steer. Right, and because one has to deal with the challenges of organizational complexity to succeed with their innovation in the dominant companies. The change is hard. So I think to master it, you need a platform to practice, and you need basically role models and mentors to really train this so-called entrepreneurs to succeed and help them really harness their innovation quotient. Those are two important things, and obviously, there are other things that we can talk about.
To add to that, right? So, Sriram, forums like these, Women Who Code, the session that we are doing itself is one of the best examples. I would say that we are making the concept of innovation reach the wider audiences, right? So, taking an idea or encouragement comes in the form of how do you make it reach to the wider audiences, different platforms. So one such is ours, right now that we are on, right? So yeah,
True.
amazing it is. Yeah.
True.
I
Well
agree.
said.
And also, I think we need like a powerful tool set with us. Yeah, we are coming up with ideas, but what if we want to try it out? Shouldn't we have like a good, maybe a good touch in Python or some coding or something? A good tool set with us where you just have it so that when you get an idea, you can quickly try and see if it works and not. Not for all kinds of ideas, but some. So I think having that kind of tool set, it could be anything. It could be database skills, programming skills, anything, right? Those also help a lot because you have to get your hands dirty at the end of it.
I concur. I think Lakshmi, you're making a great point. I think what I'm seeing is like in a post-pandemic world, emerging strong is the open source or the crowdsourcing leverage. Okay, as you said that, that collaboration is the key for succeeding with innovation in the new world, right? So I think open source or open innovation platforms are really like phenomenal tool.
Yeah.
That can really help us like accelerate the innovation.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, maybe I coming to KG. Like you have a different set as a startup, correct? Every day has to be innovated. How do you keep up the motivation going with this hybrid workplace?
Yeah, so one thing is that we can do a lot of organizational support for people to be productive and stay focused. However, what I have seen is what most people is the thrill of seeing an open problem in front of them. And Sairam made pretty good comments upon the organization support that we can give to our people to be innovative, be the best. We discussed upon the solutioning aspect as well, that how do we be self-driven, find time to approach old problems with new lens. But what about the problem space itself? And that's what I'm saying, that it's that having that first-hand knowledge about seeing an open problem in your ecosystem is itself a great motivator for most people. They will stay connected with the cause. And some of the tools that I have seen working best are the things where developers don't look most. For example, many developers would not be sitting in long support calls because support calls is for support. I mean, that's the purpose of it. But there is enough to learn from why things have failed at the scene. Is it like we understood a requirement differently, or is it like we haven't been able to solution it correctly? Either ways, we have an innovation. Yet another thing which most people don't take a look, either it's an organizational barrier or individual bias. If you use some tool like Salesforce for CRM, you would have a win-loss report. Like for every loss that you see against a competitor, the sales executive would have put a long narrative upon why we failed in that deal. Now, mining data out of it and converting it into an engineering action is the solutioning space. So you don't have to find a problem, you have it right in front of you. So connecting to the problem and the cause, why we exist as a company, is, I think, the biggest motivator. Tools and processes will just help there.
That's well said. Yeah, the change in mindset for the developers as well as enabling them to get these data from the field team is a critical thing to find problems. Well said.
Yeah. I just wanted to tell KG that the previous time you talked about borderless innovation, I really like that. We talk about borderless networks, but I think that was a great term you coined. That was nice.
Maybe Ranjani, is there any questions from audience? Okay, we are waiting for questions. Like you touched upon like tools, correct? Like tools enabling that, where you talk about the win-loss report from Salesforce and stuff, and Sairam talked about some of the platform, like, and also Laxmi, you talked about the various proficiency in the skills and stuff. Like as a developer, since the ecosystem is like ever growing, correct? New things keeps popping here and there. New technology comes in every day in a open source. Like, how do you, like, what kind of advice with this proliferation of the tools, like how you as a innovator will focus on identifying a certain set of tools, gadgets for a specific problem actually?
At least what happened last time was we had to put together this website where the customers come in and then they put in their topology and they had to get the best design out, right? So we were designing that, and I was thinking that let's see what's there. So you just go out and Google and say that what is the latest ways people are developing like a application. So there was this web flask thing which we had not used before. So we just said, okay, why not pick that up and do it? So I think, and another way that really helps me is working with the interns, because they are in school, they come up, they're learning these new things, and then they come and tell me all these new technologies. I pretend like I know everything, but then of course I go back and like read up about that and then work with them. So that's another great way, of the people coming from college and getting to know what is current in the industry. That's one way I kind of keep myself updated on what's going on.
You want to add anything, Sairam, on this?
Yeah, I think there are fantastic collaboration tools, and so I think the necessities force people necessities and constraint force us to really be more innovative, right? And I've seen teams using Microsoft Outlook in the way that I've never imagined that I would use it. For example, there is a provision to manage the task, and they use the task manager to do project management. Unbelievable, right? And to a level that Jira can't do, individual day-to-day task level support to really track the granular task. Amazing. I mean, the way they drove Microsoft Outlook to really to the edge to facilitate collaboration is mind-boggling. So I think this ecosystem constraint itself will force us to be more innovative in Work 2.0. So we may we may see more tools like Myra to drive collaborative reporting. And I wouldn't be surprised that if Microsoft has other tools that we have not fully exploited. I also see a lot of tools emerging in the open source space, which could be tried out. And I mean, there's no single silver bullet to solve the challenges of Work 2.0. We all have to depending on the situation and the demand, we'll have to try out different tools.
Thank you. Ranjani, any questions? Any questions from audience? Anything?
So we don't have any specific questions from audience, but thank you for covering most of them, which would be valuable takeaways for the audience. So with this, I would like to thank all the panelists and Sriram for being here and sharing many valuable aspects. We heard many different perspectives from these leaders on how the new work culture has changed certain aspects and has not changed other aspects like innovation, and some of the problems that they have seen during these times, and some of the opportunities that we have during this hybrid work culture for innovation, like some that were brought up, like a give and take of ideas and solution, borderless innovation, and not limiting to territories, and making some time and daily routine to innovate, squeezing it in somehow, and how leadership can help in innovation by developing tolerance to failures and give a long runway to innovate, and some of the tools that people have used to get that innovation into practice. So thank you all for sharing these valuable takeaways for our audience. And then thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you, Ranjani. Thanks all.
I really appreciate all your innovators' time on joining this session. And yeah, it is a lot of takeaways I have noted down. I agree. I think KG, you may need to patent this borderless.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sriram, for the awesome questions and moderating the session. Thank you.
Wonderful, Sriram. Thank you so much. Thanks all of you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.